So there's a lot of discourse surrounding the Pokemon Johto anime. Is it the worst of all Pokemon anime? Does the pacing and filler hold it back and undercut the truly great moments? And are there moments too far and few between? Let's discuss it all, and I hope you enjoy. So I think Johto is easy for people to point to and say it is their worst of all the Pokemon anime, and there's several reasons for that. Some of them are valid, some of them not as much. Firstly, I think a lot of people just haven't seen all of Johto, and I can't really blame them because there is so much filler. It's by far the series with the most filler, the most character of the week episodes, and for some people that is not fun. At certain points in my Johto rewatch, even I'm just sick of hiking through these 18 episode stretches of filler. It's definitely a big problem. But I think what annoys me is when people just view Johto as filler alone. They let the filler overshadow some truly incredible moments. Great arcs, great battles, and things that made Pokemon what it is today. Moments that created the anime that we all love. So it's just really cheap to say Johto is bad just because of the filler. You can point out that the filler is a big issue, but also appreciate the good moments. For me, Johto and the original series are one of my favourite series for personal reasons, but I can also admit that it has a lot of problems. Johto actually starts really well. We get the Heracross capture, we get a new rival in Casey, we also get Gary show up, all the things we want to continue, but sadly all three of these things slowly disappear as the series goes on. We get this awesome episode at the dojo where Heracross comes up against a Scizor from this guy who's obsessed with his data. There's also a cool Donphan versus Heracross battle. There's a lot of emphasis on Ash wanting to train his Heracross and focus on his newer Pokemon. There's a lot of positives, but for some stupid reason they decide to cut all of this stuff and sideline Heracross at Oak's lab and go in a completely different direction. The progression stops and we start seeing more pointless filler episodes. I mean, no one wants a whole episode about a crying Marill or an Oddish who wants to be a Hoppip. But amongst these episodes we also get fantastic episodes. Brock and Startler bonding, showing Brock and his love for Pokemon, the wild Quagsire stealing the GS ball, and the legend of whoever's round object returns first will be granted his dream for that year. The training of Cyndaquil and him and Ash learn to finally control its flame against Mickey and her Skarmory. A lot of these early Johto episodes have so much heart in them and I always enjoy watching them. I think the biggest issue is Season 4 from the dub Johto League Champions, from Ash's third gym battle with Whitney until his fourth with Morty. That's 24 episodes, and this stretch of filler for me was by far the worst. And then this kind of happens again between his fourth badge and his fifth badge. I think this 50 episode or so span between Whitney and Chuck really harms Johto. It has large stretches of nothing happening. Not really great filler episodes, no development for Pokemon or for Brock and Misty. It's pretty tough to binge through. But by no means does this make Johto bad, and I'll defend this to anyone. Everything after this is great, and I truly believe that Johto is really solid before the Whitney battle, and once we get to Chuck and the Whirl Islands, it's really cooking from there. I think it's just that middle stretch that lets it down a bit. We get to the Whirl Islands, good development for Misty as she beats Ash and competes in the World Cup and also snags herself a Corsola. We get a great arc with Team Rocket trying to capture Lugia, where we see the return of Ash's rival from Kanto, Richie. We get extreme Pokemon with Gary racing his Arcanine, what more do you want than that? We get Ash capturing Phanpy, Lake of Rage, Price and his incredible backstory, one of the best gym leader stories in the history of the anime in my opinion, and a great battle to boot. We get all of this stuff back to back basically with a few fillers in between. Master Quest is a fantastic season and it ends off with the Johto League and Ash finally beating Gary. Also a whole 5 episode Blackthorn arc where Ash takes down Claire and Charizard returns. There's honestly so many incredible moments in Johto, and I just don't like when it's not given its proper flowers. It's written off for having too much filler, but it takes away from all of these truly great moments that shaped the series. Johto was the first series to give Ash these amazing gym battles, give gym leaders more personality and more episodes to develop. It sets the trend for the other series to grow on that even more. I mean, we have an episode where Ash turns into a damn Pikachu. Wait, I guess Johto can get a little weird at times. But there's so much to love. Ash trains his Pokemon, his Cyndaquil is the damn MVP, and he gets so many important wins. We get introduced to Lance and the shiny Gyarados. We slowly phase out Ash's old Kanto Pokemon as they find new meaning. Charizard growing stronger in the Charocific Valley, Squirtle joining back up with his boys to fight fires, Bulbasaur watching over Oak's lab like the Guardian. Just fantastic ideas for these Pokemon to still be relevant. Great ways to phase out the old Pokemon generation so we can focus on the new. No one left in Kalos fighting imaginary vines.
You got a lot of things to learn, Charizard. You better get started. They're waiting for you.
I think overall I've given pros and cons for Johto. While I can accept the filler is unbearable at times, literally one of the episodes is called Unbearable, but I also want people to start putting some respect on Johto for the great things that it did do. It's not the best series, no, but it has heart and soul. It has stories about the Pokemon world. It shows off these Pokemon in interesting ways, and that's what it's all about. This adventure in the Pokemon world. There's something nostalgic and beautiful about watching some of these old episodes, and I truly believe some of them are S-tier episodes. The likes of Just Waiting on a Friend, where Brock finds an old abandoned Ninetales who is waiting for his master to return over 200 years ago, a heartbreaking episode. Or Throwing in the Noctowl, a simple flight back to Olivine City where a former pilot and his trusty Noctowl try to relive their glory days, and Ash's own shiny Noctowl helps out. Or a story about a young man who is in love, who just wants to find a real Silverwing pin so he can finally propose to this girl who he still hasn't confessed to. There's so many of these beautifully written episodes, but then there's also wacky fun episodes that don't mean anything, like a Yanma going around breaking everyone's glass in town. Oh, and that reminds me, we also get a whole arc where Todd returns to search for Articuno on top of a snowy mountain. I'll have to stop because I could ramble on about Johto for ages. I really love Johto, but for me it isn't a contender for the worst Pokemon series. It's not the best either, but that's fine. I grew up with these episodes and they will always be special for me. But that's it for this one. Hopefully I have made at least one more person appreciate Johto a bit more. A series that deserves way more love in my opinion. The original series is one that I'll personally never forget.
Goodbye. Funny how that's such a hard thing to say.